Hey, we're live.
Now we're working again.
Now we're working, baby. Welcome, Dave.
Howdy.
January 15th, 2026. We got a big show. We're going to talk a lot about fraud today. We're going to talk a lot about the crap going on in Minneapolis with the riots and stuff even happening in Duluth here. So before we get going, you got anything you want to go over?
No, just I should start it out with something important, like you're announcing your House seat.
That's right. I have announced that I will be running for Minnesota House District 8B, which is the east side of Duluth. And my platform is going to be mostly on fraud prevention and then trying to get some businesses to Duluth and trying to stop some of the flight of wealth and businesses out of Minnesota. And the reason they're doing it is because we're putting way too much taxation on the people, way too much taxation on businesses, way too much oversight, way too much regulations. So we're going to take care of that by, we lost Dave. We're going to take care of that by running for office, getting elected, and we will try to get some of this stuff straightened out. I don't think our current reps are doing a good job, especially not Kozlowski in our district. I don't think she cares one bit about this side of town. I think she's more worried on social issues. So I would like to get, I don't know what's happening with Dave now. He's just gone. I want to get some regulations taken out. I want to get some taxations out. I want people to be able to work for themselves and keep the money they want. And if they have a pet cause or they want some kind of charity, they're the ones that are going to support it themselves. They decide where your money goes. You decide where your money goes, not the government. Government doesn't take your money and then dole it out to other people. You get to keep your money and dole it out to people you decide are worthwhile. So I think we're having a problem with Dave's camera tonight, but we'll let him work that out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start walking through some of the stories that we have. And then when Dave gets back on, he'll join us up. All right. So the first thing is the Duluth City Council meeting. I want to tell you, I was listening to the Duluth City Council. I would not want to be a Duluth City councilman. It is not a fun job as far as I could tell. Are you back? Or you're not?
I thought I was.
Yeah. Well, this will work for right now. So they had hours upon hours of people going up 3 minutes at a time. And it was so much emotion. It was so much. A lot of them were, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a what, they all go through their lineage. Well, it doesn't matter. And then what they had to say was, I feel bad. I don't like what's happening. I don't feel that it's right. It's not right. Legal. I don't like it. Doesn't make me feel good. And that's not the way to run a government. It's just like it's not the way to run a business.
Right.
So they did talk about one thing I'll talk about first before I talk about Lester Park is there was a big deal about people wanting to disassociate from LexisNexis. LexisNexis is it's a data service. So you can subscribe to it and they will give you articles and you can pull articles down and, it's just file sharing. So they were all about disjoining from LexisNexis because they're afraid that the federal ICE agents are using that data to find illegal immigrants or illegal aliens in Duluth, and they don't want that. My first response to that is, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to track down illegal aliens in this city? What is the problem with that? Number two is, and this is a great quote from the chief of police, we do not upload our data to them. Our data is not shared with them. We do not interface with them. We get data from them. So I don't know what the whole point of all this was. If they don't even upload any data to LexisNexis, what's the problem with us using it? Have any idea, Dave? I need somebody to make sense out of this to me. Dave is not talking or he is frozen. Here, let me add you to this. Oh, you're on a couple times. This is bad. Okay, we're going to get Dave out of the stage now until he's right. All right, so The other thing we're going to talk about is Duluth is spending more money on Lexter Park, and they're going to try to get, they're going to do a land study now. So $197,000, $546 on a land study for the former Lester Park Golf Course. And I think that might just be to find out, hey, can we put a golf course on this site that used to have a golf course? So that's, I don't know why that's well spent money, but at least there's some progress on it. What we would like to do is have, what they talked about doing is putting a resort down on the east end of Duluth and putting restaurants around it, having 18 holes of golf, and then, being an anchor for the east side of Duluth. Just like we have Spirit Mountain on the west side, we'd have this restaurant or the hotel on the east side, and then we have, the Canal Park area. So it was good for business. It was good for the citizens of Duluth. It was generate traffic. We'd have more housing because they're going to put housing on it. So it looks like they might be going forward on this. What do you have to say about that, Dave? Dave, can you talk? All right, but Dave can't talk. Okay. The last thing I have for Duluth news, and this is going to be kind of on a ICE now focus. Duluth Denfeld students protested ICE. So they were labeled to get out of school, go out into the parking lot and protest ICE. A couple problems with this. Number one, isn't that the danger? So they're in this lockdown building during the day. They've done this because of school shooting. The kids are supposed to be in there. You can't go in the building unless you sign in or you have an appointment or something. So letting the kids out into the parking lot, what if a car drove through them? What if some school shooter came at that time? Wouldn't the school be liable for all of that, for letting these kids out? Number two, I remember being in high school and thinking, you mean I can leave during the day and go outside? I don't care what the protest is about. I'd just be able to go outside. So I probably would have done that. So this is a good thing for high school students to be able to do on school time. If they want to go and protest, that's their right. They can do it off school time. But during school time, it's time to learn how to read and write and do your schoolwork. So any thoughts on that, Dave? I'm going to go with no on that. Can you hear me at all, Dave?
No.
Oh, okay.
As soon as I figure out how to hear you, then I'll be back in business.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Little note on Minnesota legislature. They will start on February 17th at 12. And as Dave pointed out in his notes, we'll see if the Democrats show up this time, because last year they sat out for 2-3 weeks because they were having a hissy fit. And now we're going to move on to Tim Walz. So here's something that's interesting, and we're trying to talk about it in the context of Tim Walz saying that, or everybody saying that that woman was murdered and the guy shouldn't have shot. This is a direct quote here. Facts matter. This is from Tim Walz. I hate violence, all violence, but the law in Minnesota is clear, whether you like it or not. I didn't write the law. The Minnesota lawmakers did. The Minnesota House of Representatives was controlled by the Democratic Farmer Labor Party, which is the state affiliate of the Democrat Party. The bill was signed into law by Governor Tim Walz, a member of the DFL party, on July 23, 2020. If a driver accelerates towards an officer standing in front of a vehicle, this creates an immediate life-threatening danger. The officer doesn't need to wait until impact. They can act based on the apparent intent and proximity. So this is Minnesota law right now we're talking about. If you don't like it, change the law. Protest the lawmakers. You with me yet, Dave?
No.
But you heard me say that.
I'm going to jump out and see if that works.
All right, sounds good. So let's take a look at the person that was they were going after that didn't get arrested because of all this going on. This is the illegal alien child molester she was trying to block ICE for. Citizen of Guatemala in 2022, sex crime arrest in 2023, pled guilty, and he's here illegally. And they were trying to go after him, but Now they couldn't go after them because they had this conflict out in the street. And this is the whole point of it, is to stop them from being able to do their job. So I don't know why you'd want to protect this guy. This guy doesn't seem like a worthwhile person to protest for. Definitely not enough to lose your life over. And as Dave pointed out, this is something that he's added. The ICE agent who was hit suffered internal bleeding. So he did get hit, as some people say he didn't. He did get hit, and you can see it in the video, but there's so much gaslighting going on with this video, trying to say that he didn't get hit or he shouldn't have shot. Her wheels spun out. She was on ice. If her wheels hadn't spun out, she probably would have mowed the guy down. She was going straight toward him. So I don't like it that she got shot. In fact, I hate the fact that there's all this going on. But this is the problem. The Democrats, or not the Democrats, but the liberals or the people protesting, they always find a thing. They find some tragedy and they latch onto it, and it will go on for weeks and weeks. It's a running thing that they'll go on, and they'll keep it until it dies. They'll never die a natural death. They'll keep on it until the next thing comes. And when the next thing comes, they'll latch onto that. And this will all be forgotten. They won't care about this. This is the way they do this, is to cause always perpetual angst and perpetual just disruption. You can never just have some good times. It always has to be grinding. If they're not in power, this is what they do. And I think we've seen that so many times over the years that it's tough to ignore it at this point. I'm going to show a link now of the people that they've been arresting. I want to know why these are people that you would be wanting to protect. So let me share this. I'll do this. Operation Metro Surge arrests worst of worst criminal illegal aliens in Minnesota. So you go down their rap sheet, and I'm going to post this obviously in the comments. It's not about where they're from even. It's these people have committed crimes. Just being in this city or in this country is a crime if you haven't come in legally. So you've already broken the law there. But they are going after these guys that are the worst of the worst. And then if somebody else is part of that, if they're caught up in it, that's just collateral damage for them. But they are going after the people that have done the most damage. The next article we want to go to is, I don't know if people knew this, but 4 articles of impeachment have been filed against Governor Walz now. So now we've got Minnesota representatives filing articles of impeachment over his handling of this situation that's going on down in Minneapolis and of his dealing with fraud. Now, the problem I have with it is this. If he leaves, Peggy Flanagan is next up. She takes over. She's actually makes Tim Walz look fairly moderate. I don't know of a position I've ever heard of hers that was even semi-sane to my view. Well, Dave, can you hear me?
No, not really, but we'll wait.
Soldier on.
Now we'll see. Powered speakers. Okay. We'll see if that works.
So I'm going to play some videos here, and it is what are our elected officials saying? So let me share this screen, and it's going to be. All right. First of all, this is Walz. So right there, I'm stopping it right there. They're ordering people to call out where their neighbors of color live. I don't believe you. I think that's garbage. He's trying to get race involved with this now. They're pulling people over indiscriminately. Also not true. That's not what ICE does. In fact, ICE does not control traffic. They don't do traffic stops. You see the emotional manipulation going on here. He states these things. He doesn't back them up. They're dragging pregnant women down the street. What's the context of that? Are they actually doing it? He doesn't provide any proof. Were they doing it because those pregnant women were out there fighting them? Well, then maybe then that needs to happen to protect themselves. But he doesn't ever provide any context for this stuff. He just makes these outlandish claims and people hear it, and some people don't think about it. They just hear it and they think it's true. No due process. And he's talking about the illegal aliens at this point.
I can't hear him myself.
You can't? Oh, that's
No.
not good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't hear.
That's just bad. All right, let me do this. I'll do it again.
Because my computer decided to Microsoft update right in the middle of the whole
That's
thing.
great.
So, yeah.
All right, let me play this and tell me if you can hear it.
ICE agents are going door to door, ordering people to point out where their neighbors of color live.
Okay, so I'm just going to go through my comments again. He said they're going door to door in Minneapolis and point out where your neighbors of color live. I don't believe you.
No.
I think that is utter garbage. I don't think they're going door to door and knocking and saying, you got any people of color around here? Yeah, we're looking to pick them up because we're ICE agents and that's what we do. That's not true.
Right. They're picking out the worst of the worst.
Right.
Indiscriminately,
Listen to this.
including U.S. citizens, and demanding to see their papers. And at grocery stores, at bus stops, even at our schools, they're breaking windows, dragging pregnant women down the street, just plain grabbing Minnesotans and shoving them into unmarked vans.
See, that's what I'm talking about, the emotion here. They're breaking windows. They're just breaking windows. The others going down the street and breaking windows and grabbing. Where's a pregnant woman? I got to drag her down the street. You got any women of color that are pregnant that I can drag down the street here? That's not what ICE does. ICE is here targeting individuals and trying to get illegal aliens who are taking up our resources, taking up our housing, and they're trying to get them back to their own country. They're not just pulling over anybody. Hey, give me your papers. But that's the impression he wants to give because he wants this disruption. This is good for him. Take any of the focus off of the fraud going on in the state and put it on this so he doesn't have to pay a cost.
Kidnapping innocent people with no warning and no due process. Let's be very, very clear. This long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. Instead, it's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota by our own federal government. Okay.
I don't want to play the rest of it because it's a long thing, but I'm just going to leave that there. So that was what he just said, yesterday. So now we go on and I'm just going to show you this. Let me take this off the screen. This is today. This is a tweet by him.
Yeah.
I'm making a direct appeal to the president. Let's turn the temperature down. Stop this campaign of retribution. This is not who we are. And an appeal to Minnesotans. I know this is scary. The emotion. Got to get the emotion, right?
Yep.
We must speak out loudly, urgently, but also peacefully. We cannot fan the flames of chaos. That's what he wants. See, he doesn't even know how to finish one certain thought before he contradicts it. Let's turn the temperature down. And then he goes after him. That's what he wants, right? Tim Walz just is unfit. He never was fit for this job. We've been saying it for years. And he just proves it all the time now.
And now because he's not running for governor anymore, he can lie, and more lie because no one's going to call him out on it because he no longer has to worry about winning an election.
Yeah, he doesn't care about that. So on the kind of in the vein of these guys, these elected officials, let's do Jacob Fry. Let's see what Fry had to say. This will be sensible, right?
And we're in a position right now where we have residents that are asking the very limited number of police officers that we have to fight ICE agents on the street, to stand by their neighbors. We cannot be at a place right now in America where we have two governmental entities that are literally fighting one another.
I don't think the ICE agents are fighting the Minneapolis police. They're trying to do a job and you're fighting them.
Why are we put in this position? We're put in this position because we have approximately 600 police officers in Minneapolis, far fewer that are able to work at any given time. And there are approximately 3,000 ICE agents in the area. 3,000. And
So let me tell you why you're in this position.
we're in a position right now.
You're in this position because you allowed the illegal aliens to come in as a sanctuary city, sanctuary state. You've encouraged this. You're the reason. This is a complete waste of time and a complete waste of resources that isn't necessary except for you made it necessary. Guys like this, guys like Walz, open borders, sanctuary states, brought all these people in. They have to get out. So you're the one that's causing it. You want to find out who's causing it? It's you.
Yeah, he causes the problem, and then that's why Walz had to come in, Trump had to come in and clean up his mess.
Right.
Clean up Walz's mess, because they're not doing anything. They're sitting on their hands. They're inviting fraud. They're inviting the chaos into the state.
Right. I like the look on the police chief's face too when he's saying all this. Just watch him.
Neighbors. We cannot be at a place right now in America.
He's really thinking hard about his life, I think. He's got that 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah.
So let's see. So I wanted to round up now with the rest of them. This is my last share of our elected officials talking on this subject. This one. Here we go. My favorite name for her is Mentally Ilhan Omar.
We are going to show all of them the door out. And we are going to make sure that these people pay for what they have done to us.
I don't know, Dave. Sounds like a threat to me. How about you?
Yeah, that's definitely a threat. So,
Yeah.
the federal government is really looking into her. Nancy Mace just reintroduced legislation to really look at her and find out, about her everything about her. Why her husband made $60 billion from his private equity fund in 1 year, and stuff like that. So
Didn't she get in office 4 years ago and she was like $40,000 in debt, and now she's worth like $30 million?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to make money, you go to the U.S. Senate, you go to the U.S. Congress. You're a chump if you run for Minnesota House or Minnesota Senate. You're not going to make any money at that. You go to U.S. House, U.S. Senate, boy, you all of a sudden get lucky on your stock picks. You got money people throwing money at you hand over fist. Man, what am I doing, Dave? Why am I running for Minnesota House? It's stupid.
And even when she was declared she was worth $30 million, she still owed on her student loans.
Yeah.
So she still wasn't paying her bills off, so to speak. So
Let me, I'm going to drop a comment in here I thought was good. Millionaires becoming politicians isn't an issue, but politicians becoming millionaires is of concern. And that's completely true.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
another one, the left should thank their lucky stars. Conservatives aren't violent. If we reacted this way every time that the way they react to every little thing, this place would be in rubble. You got to have some sane people, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at who's out there right now, it's all the lefties, all the, you know, we really noticed. I really noticed it when Obama got elected, because there were anti-war protests nonstop until the day he got elected, and then he got elected the next day. All of the wars, the wars didn't stop, but the protesting did. He didn't change.
Yeah,
the war still went on.
When I drove downtown Minneapolis every day when Bush was president, every day there was protesters out, every single day. But you're right. As soon as Obama got elected, it went out in like 2 weeks. It was nothing, and it was nothing for like a couple of months. Oh, wait, I got a great one here. Let's show this one. I'm having fun with the comments now. Who do you think was at the January 6th takeover? What was the takeover? There was no takeover. You know, I really like how the violent insurrectionists obeyed the felt lining, or, you know, the guided tour stuff that was going on.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they're going to overthrow the American government with no weapons.
Right. Well, then you got Ashley Babbitt. I mean, people are complaining about this guy shooting somebody who had a car ramming at him. Here was an unarmed veteran woman coming through a window, and she got shot in the face. That's just not right.
Right.
You know, but we didn't riot about that. I mean, maybe we should have. I don't know. I just don't feel it in me to do that.
Well, I mean, the girl who got stabbed on the train, Lake and Riley, where were the protests for her? I mean, she was, you earlier in the show, you went over all the convicts who did something to Americans, and there was no protest on them.
Right.
Where does that come up?
I want to, I'm going to put a comment on here. We're going to talk about it. That's not the one I wanted. It moved up. Us lefties have to protect ourselves from the cruelty of ICE. So if you are an illegal alien, then you're in their targets. If you are not an illegal alien, they don't really care about you. Unless, I don't know, you try to run them down with your car. So I don't know what this means. And I would love to hear more from this person to find out what is the cruelty. What is happening? If you didn't go out and protest, they'd be picking up these guys and then it would be over. So,
Well, what about Obama and Biden and Clinton? They picked up more people than ICE picked up more people under them than Trump did, but there was no protest for those presidencies.
Right.
So it's okay for Obama to use ICE to pick people up, but it's bad for Trump too.
Speaking of Bill Clinton, Dave, since you brought that up.
To jail, but then after their term's over, our nation was built by immigrants. People from every region of the world have made lasting and important contributions to our society. We support legal immigration, but we won't tolerate immigration by people whose first act is to break the law as they enter our country. We must continue to do everything we can to strengthen our borders, enforce our laws, and remove illegal aliens from our country. As I said in my State of the Union address, we are a nation of immigrants, but we're also a nation of laws. And it is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years.
So I'll leave it at that. But basically what it comes down to is that was the Democratic president 30 years ago saying that. And now today he would be considered a hard right radical is what they would say.
Yeah, he'd be a fascist, a Trump fascist.
Right. Let's see. Coalition of Minnesota mayors calling for an end to fraud and high taxes. Yeah, in Minnesota, it's pretty bad here with the taxes. The Lincoln Park Middle School area. There's something going on. I'm getting a public safety alert right now from the Duluth Police Department. So if you're out in that area, watch yourself. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of a vague description, but talk about your real-time show stuff.
Yeah.
It says it's public safety message in the Lincoln Park Middle School area from the Duluth Police Department, St. Louis County Sheriff's Office. If located, call 911 and provide exact location. It doesn't really say what they're looking for in my feed, so I don't know what that is.
No, I got the same feed. So,
all right, so
Doesn't
we'll go
say
on
what
to
they're-
this, but this is a coalition asking for mayors calling for fraud. I've heard 2 billion. I've heard 8 billion. I've heard 80 billion from some sources. Now I haven't seen that backed up, but that could be over a number of years too. But they're talking about suitcases full of hard cash leaving Minneapolis St. Paul Airport over years. And Fox TV down in the Twin Cities did a news article about that 7 years ago. So when we're talking about this kid that was investigating the daycare centers and why aren't the news media covering this? That was covered 7 years ago. Why did it take 7 more years before it actually got handled?
right. Not to change the subject on you, but to interrupt for a second, the 911 that we just received from the St. Louis County is autistic child missing in Duluth. If you've seen Jacob or know his whereabouts, you're encouraged to call 911. So he looks like maybe a 15-year-old black male.
Can you pop it up on the window, or do you not have that?
No, I got it on my other computer, so I can't pop it up. But if you go to Northern News Now, it's headline. So
All right,
see if you can grab that and pop that up.
All right, I'm going to pop this onto the screen right now.
Someone said he's 12. Name is Jacob.
So if you're watching this from Duluth, this is a picture of Jacob. He's missing. If you happen to see this kid, call 911. He's 5'5", black male, 118 pounds. Last seeing a black and white Columbia jacket and black sweatpants, Lincoln Park Middle School. And if you have some time, if you can get out there, it looks like they're getting a search party going around 5:30. So that was already an hour ago. So there you go. If you happen to see him, if you happen to be out, please call 911 and get this kid home. All right.
Yeah, so because because of the Trump or because of the Walz fraud, they're taking away the money from the cities, and then the cities have to raise taxes to cover for basically Walz's fraud. And
yeah,
so now that's up to what, 241 or something like that. So,
but remember, they raised taxes 2 years ago, $10 billion. They'd spent the $18 billion surplus, raised taxes $10 billion, and grew the size of the government by 40%. That's the thing that's killing us.
yeah.
You can't sustain a 40% growth in government and think that taxes aren't just going to skyrocket year upon year upon year. And even Jacob Frey admits there's fraud, but he tries to pass it off. But let's take a listen to what he had to say about it. This one's a minute, so I can play.
Let me ask you about the leadership in your state. Dozens of people in Minnesota have been charged and convicted with stealing millions of dollars of taxpayer money for government programs. Do you think Governor Walz did enough to stop the fraud in your state? And do you support his decision not to run for re-election?
Well, look, Governor Walz is the reason that we've got paid family leave.
I'm going to skip forward just a little bit because he just goes off and spins around without answering.
Look, obviously, everybody could have done more to prevent fraud. And I think that's a fair point to make. Do more to prevent fraud. And you look what he's doing right now. He's setting up a whole bunch of infrastructure to do that. And by the way, look, the fraud's real. We've all got to acknowledge it. The fraud is very real. And by the way, when somebody commits fraud, and there are many that have done that, you investigate it, you charge, you prosecute. And yeah, you put the person in jail as an individual. You put the person in jail as an individual. You do not hold an entire community, any community, accountable for the actions of individuals.
he actually thinks we should put people in jail. It's kind of revelation. I didn't think he had it in him, to be honest.
Well, Mary Moriarty, she's totally against putting certain groups in jail. She's
Well,
very race oriented.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, he may be learning. I don't know, but yeah, he just that guy. I can't believe he got elected. He's been elected twice since the riots, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy he was running against was a nightmare this last time, but he's not a whole lot better.
Yeah.
All right.
Why? Yeah. So, you know, and Minnesota's a small time state. They found fraud in Illinois, California. Trump is coming after Walz because Walz not doing anything about it.
Right.
Walz is, let's put another layer of government on there.
Well, it's not true. He is doing something about it. He's encouraging it. We heard that video
Right.
earlier. He's tacitly agreeing to all the stuff they're doing. He's trying to put a front forward so that he doesn't get sued about it, but he's not stopping it. And in fact, if we go to this next screen, this is George Floyd all over again. Riders smash into ICE vehicles. Minneapolis police stand down. Now, I wouldn't want to be a Minneapolis police officer, to be honest with you. At this climate, they're not allowed to do their job. And was it you that was telling me that the Family Leave Act, the thing that just started January 1st, where you can get up to half a year off paid leave?
Yep.
A bunch of police officers in Minneapolis are starting to take that. So they're just going to get overrun. And Donald Trump said that he may invoke the Insurrection Act in order to get this place under control. So that could be a way that it stops this, the riots that we had last time that ran out of control for days and they did nothing about it, which ignited the whole country, basically. I think this is going to stop.
Well, yeah, Walz did a warning to the Minnesota National Guard. Why isn't he getting them out there to put a stop to the rioting?
Good question. Well, we're getting another alert. That's why I'm getting it's the same thing we just talked about. Yeah, why hasn't the National Guard been? He's saying the police are overwhelmed. Frey is saying the police are overwhelmed. Why isn't he asking Walz to get the National Guard out there?
Yeah, and Small Frey, he just said that they had 600 police officers. According to the some referendum that he signed for because of the 2020 riots, the George Floyd riots, they're supposed to have 857 police officers or somewhere in that range. And he's saying we're 600, so we're 250 short. So,
but that all happened after the George Floyd thing. You saw what they did.
Yeah,
I mean, they took Derek Chauvin, put him in jail, but also other officers that were there at the time. You had this one woman who was trying to stop a guy fleeing. She thought she was going to tase him. She picked up her gun by mistake. They threw her under the bus. I mean, if they're not going to back the cops doing their job and making split-second decisions under high-pressure situations, then why would you put yourself in that kind of peril? Why would you work in Minneapolis? I understand why they're having a hard time getting people in there.
Yeah, because the Minneapolis City Council, the St. Louis or St. Paul City Council, they're completely against the police, the police officers. So
right. And we will go through some of the comments you're making here a little later. I can't keep interrupting to do it, but we'll address some of these things. So let's see. I'm going to share this thing. This is how Minnesota reacts. Minnesota and Twin Cities sue Homeland Security to end ICE crackdown. So instead of helping, they try to prevent. And this is Keith Ellison completely. This is his whole mission in life. This is all he's doing as the Minnesota Attorney General. He goes against the federal government. He thinks it's his job to fight the federal government on things that are not Minnesota business. So this is just another one. And well, there he is. Hey, check it out.
Yeah.
You got him and Frey, who always, I swear to God, doesn't he always look like he's just about to break out into tears?
I mean, the number one job of the government is to protect, is safety.
Yes,
And they should be going out of their way to help ICE
exactly.
get the bad people out of the state. It's that simple.
Once the illegal aliens are out, then ICE won't be here anymore. You see how easy that is? They'll get their people. They have no business being here. I'll tell you what, if ICE is still here after all the illegal aliens are out of here and the people that have to be deported out of the country, then I'll be right there saying, no, we should have them out. They don't need to be doing this. Right now, their job is illegal aliens in this state, in this country.
Yeah.
We've got to clear that out. It's going to free up housing. It'll free up tax dollars. It'll free up hospitals. What some ungodly percentage of people from Somalia, and I'll pick on them because that's where I get all my data, are on welfare. In for the last 10 years they've been coming here. It's like 68% or 70 some percent are on welfare. You don't come to another country and then go on their welfare system. You didn't pay into it. You're not here. We're not here to babysit you. We're not here to take care of you. So go back to your own country. Take care of it there.
Yep.
I just wanted to point out that somebody really didn't like this interpreter on the right side because what a horrible picture. Couldn't they just have waited one more frame? Poor woman. She's like, hey, I'm in the Oh no. All right. So let's see. I already went through that one. So we'll cut that. Let's see. What's next on the list, Dave?
Let's see. I've kind of lost track of mine because
we're paying for the Minneapolis protests.
Yeah.
I'll put this up. So as a taxpayer, if you don't agree with the protests going on, well, I've got bad news for you. I think we are paying for it. So let me just pop this up here. And I'll, like I said, every one of these shows, we'll post our links in the comments after I move it from live to video. Many people have noticed the agitators in Minneapolis are well organized, sporting identical whistles, vests, and signs. Is this grassroots organic movement? Of course not. And it goes down to the Defend 612. And so there's a little article on this. I'm not going to go through it too much here, but you can follow this down and see the text. They did some research here, which is good. I can't vouch for it as being accurate, but I will post it and you can make your own decisions up. And here's the punchline here. Yes, who their largest funder is? You, the taxpayers. State of Minnesota provides grants to Minnesota 350, for, like this one for $100,000. Look at these grantees they're getting here. And then it follows it all the way down to the money. So what we're basically paying what three different ways. We're paying for the border patrols to ignore them coming in. Then we have to pay for their them on defrauding the government. And then the third one, we have to pay for ICE to show up and get rid of them because they're breaking the laws. Well, so, you're forgetting, Dave. We also get to pay for the cleanup.
Yeah. And then, so we just get, it's kind of tiring because you hear the schools begging for money, and we can't, and there's no more money to give them. If Biden would have let 10 million people in, how many billions could we give to the school districts?
Just look at the money that we were defrauded out of. That was supposed to go to autistic kids, first responders, childcare, daycare, housing. If you're going to be forced to have your money taken from you, taken from the government, you'd at least think they were good stewards of your money to make sure that it wasn't being wasted on things that you don't want to support or going off to a foreign country.
Right.
That was suitcases full of millions of dollars of cash that left this country. It's not coming back. We're not getting that money back. It's gone. People were buying Ferraris, Porsches, beachfront property in Sedan.
Yep.
Oh my God. I saw a picture of they showed this hut in Africa. It said Africa before 1950 and now Africa now. And it was the same hut, but there was a Lamborghini sitting out in the front of it. I want to post this thing here. I just actually stopped. So let's do this.
Oh,
So I was reading this article here. Minnesota child care providers complain of ICE actions traumatizing kids. And this is the Duluth News Tribune. And they're talking about, I'm going to just get some excerpt here. We are all used to in Minnesota snow days, but we are now having ice days, meaning that our kids are not able to learn. They are having their education cut because of ICE actions in our community. Now, and this was a state rep, Samantha Sensor. She also says, make no mistake, this is done so the teachers and older kids can go out and protest. That was my comment. They make no mistake, this is done so teachers and older kids can go out and protest. That's why they're taking days off.
yeah.
So Rep. Carly Koidza, DFL from 49B, and chair of the Children and Families Committee. This is a quote from her. Now American citizens are being killed in broad daylight and students are being tackled after school. None of this is about public safety anymore. In fact, ICE is destabilizing our communities and making us all less safe. Just hours after that woman was killed on Wednesday, and just a few miles away, we saw ICE not taking a beat, not arrest, and instead go to our local school and terrorize students, parents, and community members at dismissal. We saw teachers being taken away. We saw our already traumatized community struggling to continue to keep each other safe. They are traumatizing our kids. So my opinion about this is, first of all, you're the ones traumatizing the kids. They would have no, if you're talking, depends on the age of the kid you're talking about, but you're talking about grade school kids, they have no idea what's going on.
Right.
Except for the fact that you're pounding it into them that they should be scared. The other thought I had was, hey, they're taking your teachers away. Are you telling me your teachers are illegal aliens and they're teaching in our schools and you have a problem with that?
Right.
Now, if that's the case, if they're not illegal aliens, why would ICE be going after them? I don't know.
Yeah, they're not they're picking low hanging fruit right now. They're going
Right.
after the criminals that, one, they're illegal, two, they've done something else to get noticed.
Right.
They're not really going after just the illegals just for coming in and they get a job or something like that. They're going off because they've done something else. If they happen to run across them, yeah, they're taking them.
Right.
However, if you came in the country legally, that's great because you have you have all the paperwork and it's awesome. You come in the front door, that's perfect. We know who you are.
If you do that, they're not coming after you.
Right.
Long and short of it.
I know I used to work with immigrants and you work with immigrants. None of them are afraid.
No. In fact, a lot of the immigrants I work with are for this because the tasks they had to do and the money they had to spend and the time they had to spend to come here legally. And then to find out that like Joe Biden's administration would take them into this country and just give them money. I mean, it's really insulting. And I'm not talking about just one country either. I know immigrants from India. I know immigrants from England, from China, all over, because that's my business. I work with a lot of people from a lot of different parts of the country. And I don't know any of them that are like, yeah, this is wrong. No, they're all for it. And to get into their country, they know what it costs and what it takes to get into their country. Try to immigrate into Canada if you're for it. See what it takes. It's not
or even
simple.
Mexico.
Right. And the last point about that last article was they were talking about how, they didn't stop. They didn't take a beat. They didn't do anything. They're not going to let your protests get in their way. Right? They're not doing anything wrong. So to stop would just fuel the fire that you're giving. If you find out they're not going to stop, maybe you'll come to your senses and say, maybe this isn't the hill to die on, but this is the topic du jour. So they will keep hounding it and pouring more and more money into it, more and more resources into it, because they want to get that wedge in. They want to get people agitated and do something wrong. Unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an election year, so Walz is going to deflect as much as possible,
right.
To show that the Democrats are actually doing something, which so far they haven't, but February something is when the legislation starts. So maybe they'll maybe they'll actually do something for us this year. I doubt it, but
So I had heard a bunch of people had quit the Justice Department
Yep.
because they weren't going to investigate this guy. And then I saw this article today and I thought it was kind of funny. Pam Bondi says Minnesota prosecutors didn't quit. I fired them all. So I haven't read the article. I haven't listened to the news, but I thought this was a funny headline. So let's just be clear. I fired them. They did not quit. So apparently they wanted a taxpayer-funded paid vacation till April. I don't have
Yeah.
time to look at all this stuff, so I just get the stuff that I find amusing.
yeah, she was on she was on Fox News last night talking about that, where they were going to quit, but then they wanted all these things, and then they found out they were interviewing with liberal law firms, so she just decided to
Just got
get rid of them, and so
I'm going to play something here, and it is interesting. So this is going to be, I hope this is going to be able to be heard. Okay, I'm going to play it. Let me know.
Smaller crowd. This is controlled. The scene spans several blocks. We are here at Portland Avenue and East 35th, but it goes at least 2 or 3 blocks.
Who are you? Who do you work
Thank
for?
you.
Who do
Hold
you
on.
work
I'm
for?
sorry. We're with CNN. It's okay. Thank you for your help. I'm sorry. I think people are getting upset. So that is the latest here on the ground, guys, and I'm going to send it back to you.
So who are you? What are you doing here? What's your CNN? Ah, okay. You can be here. Why does CNN get that kind of grace? I wonder why. I
wonder.
I can't put my hand in. I'm going to skip a couple of these. We're just going to go on down to, if you don't mind, Dave, I'm going to skip most of the national news. A couple of things I'm going to say about Trump. What he did was, and I don't even have to post this, I'll just talk about it. He has said that data centers should pay their own way when they're trying to build a data center or an AI center. If you're building a data center, then you should have to pay the electricity costs clearly. I mean, it's clear to me, but the data centers, they don't want this. They want a bunch of tax subsidies and all this other stuff. But what happens is they take so much energy and so much electricity that costs go up for people. And we're going to see that here in Duluth if they do get that data center out in Hermantown. And
Right.
BlackRock now owns Minnesota Power out here. So it's really going to get bad. But what Donald Trump said was, you have to pay your own way. And I think that's right. So on top of making sure neighborhoods are okay with data centers, and you have to get kind of a consensus for, especially for the people that would have to live around the area. If there's some sort of large humming, that should be something that's going to keep them out. But you have to be able to have your energy. And if the data centers need that kind of energy, they should build it. And then there should be some offset where it leaches out into the public, where they're getting actual less electricity costs for living in the area, and some sort of property tax breaks as well. So that's how you get people to be okay with the data center coming, and for the
Yeah.
data center to be a positive as opposed to possibly a part negative for the community.
And people can't know that stuff when the public officials are signing NDAs.
Yes,
So-
that is wrong.
Yeah.
If you're a public official, you do not sign an NDA to not talk about. If you do that, you have to be upfront to your boss. And if I'm working at a company and some company comes to me and says, we want to do a deal with you, but I want you to sign an NDA, you go talk to your boss first before you sign that NDA. If
Yeah.
they say that it's okay and it goes up the chain, well, who's the boss of these politicians? The voters, the people
Right.
that live in their district, the ones that vote them in. You don't sign an NDA without letting them know you're going to do that. I understand them needing to sign one if they're going to be talking about things that they can't disclose, but it should be very upfront who you're talking to, and you are talking to somebody, and at some point that stuff has to come out.
Exactly.
The other Trump news is he is going to try to ban large investors from buying houses. This is BlackRock. This is investment firms and venture capitalists from buying single-family homes. And that will probably help quite a bit. I'll be interested to see if he can get that through. But it will be good for the whole nation if big firms can't buy up our housing and then turn around and rent it back to us, because it's just been, we're in a huge bubble as far as I understand. The housing market could crash at any time, and because house prices are so high, who can afford these houses? My house
Right.
alone, I think it estimated at twice the value I bought it for, like not even 10 years ago. That's crazy.
But these like the locals, like especially the blue states, the local governments where we're all Democrats, they're not going to want it because commercial property taxes are higher than residential. Therefore, Duluth said they had 40%. 40% of the single family houses are, corporate or Airbnbs. They're under commercial. So
Yeah.
you get rid of all that, you drop it down to 5%, 10%. They're going to lose a big portion of that commercial property tax down to where it should be,
Yeah.
and they're going to be against that. So because they're going to lose money on that.
It has to be, your decision making as a politician shouldn't be how do we squeeze as much money out of this as possible so we can do our other programs. You got to start looking into what's best for the people that live in the area. And that isn't always making more money, and it isn't always getting more programs. Sometimes it's reducing it so that people can have their own money and do what they want with it in the places they want, as opposed to somebody else deciding, well, we're smarter than you. We will take your money and we will do it out to these organizations and these causes, whether you like it or not. That's just the worst model I can think.
And every single candidate from the Duluth City Council talked about affordable housing. This will make, if Trump can get this pushed through, this will make housing more affordable. I don't think it's going to cure the problem, but it'll make it more affordable. So
Right.
now we'll see if they're actually going to stand behind their campaign promise.
Right.
I mean, that's the one thing about Trump is you might not like what he's talking about, but he's telling you the truth, and he does what he says he's going to do.
Is the truth. I mean, I've never seen him take an item, talk about it one way, and then flip it around and talk about it another way. He's very consistent. He changes his mind,
Right.
but it's not the approach he changes. All right, I'm going to go through a couple of these comments. I'm just going to pick some down the line. What do you think?
Yeah, we need a humorous break here.
Let's see. I'm trying to find out where we've already gone. Conservatives aren't violent. LOL. Okay, bud. This is when we were talking about the
Riots
liberals
now.
going off and causing mayhem anytime they want to, and then if you don't conform to them, they'll just do it harder. Everybody's got a violent streak. It's not just one group, but you sure can say that when a big event happens, if it's against what a liberal thinks is wrong, there will be violence, there'll be destruction. It's against what a conservative, there'll be outrage, but there probably won't be any rioting.
Yeah, there was, like the riots after the Charlie Kirk murder. Oh, wait, there was none.
We were talking about January 6th. Says people died that day. They had weapons. Do you guys bother to research any of this or just parrot Fox News talking points? Well, son, I don't watch Fox News. And number one, and number two, they didn't have weapons. And people died that day. You know who died? The one gunshot victim was one of the rioters. Shot unarmed, coming through a window, shot in the head by a guard there. And he never got charged. And he's free today. So I did do a little research by watching it happen.
Yeah. Ashley Babbitt, but where's, no one, nobody on the streets, cared about what happened to her.
Right. ICE is doing their job, but the thing that some leftists said is that they don't see anyone as illegal, that illegal immigrants are just immigrants. But the law is the law, whether you agree with it or not. Now, that's true. And that's the thing that you will never hear, you won't hear very much. They'll always talk about immigrants, and they're conflating the two. There's legal immigrants and illegal aliens. Legal immigrants and illegal aliens. ICE is after the illegal aliens. They're not after the legal immigrants. So if you can't separate those two, then you should start thinking about what that definition means. Let's see. 32 people died in ICE detention last year. You got to have more specifics than that. If you want to say that and you're going to say that that was because they were beaten to death or something, I don't believe you. Some people die of old age. There's always going to be deaths whenever you're detaining people. If they didn't come here, they wouldn't have been in that detention facility. They wouldn't have that problem. And the sooner we can get them back to their homes, the better. Then they won't die in those detention centers. Let's see
the one. Do you see the one on due process?
I didn't see the one in due process. You got it? Pop it up.
I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can get it up.
Okay.
Show there it is. So back in '95, Bill Clinton signed a illegal alien a law that removed due process from illegal aliens, and it was confirmed by the Supreme Court. So Bill Clinton got rid of due process for illegal aliens. I can't remember, it was IRRL, some B thing, but he signed it in '95. So
Right.
that's why it was so they could get rid of illegal aliens quicker. Obama uses exactly the same law. Trump's using the same law, blah, blah, blah. So
there was during the Obama administration, there was a video of CNN going along with a ride along with ICE while they did this.
yeah.
And it was okay then. Back in Clinton's administration, there was a famous picture of a Cuban kid with a guy with a machine gun pointed at the kid's face, and they celebrated that.
Yep.
Times change, I guess. Let's see. I don't think ICE deports children. I think they deport families. I don't think they're going after children. I think they're going after adults. Let's see. We got a lot of comments tonight.
Yeah.
There's one guy that seems to want to comment the same thing over and over again. I think it's just so I can read it, I guess.
Yeah, but he keeps contradicting himself, so it's I don't know.
Obama derangement syndrome. Always talking about Obama. Yes. Let's co-opt the thing that we've said about you. So Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. I'm not talking about Obama. I'm talking about Clinton, Obama, Bush, Biden. I guess I have liberal derangement syndrome, I guess you call it. Registered liberals should house these illegals. I've often thought about this. Let's talk about this for just a second. We talked about a homeless problem here in Duluth, right? Even though in the 60s, we had less houses and more people, but we have a homeless problem now. But we have a lot of Democrats. I mean, the rep on the east side won with 30,000 votes, and the rep on the west side won with 30,000, with getting 30,000 votes. And you think about that, 60,000 people out of a city that has 88,000 people. So why don't we set up a registry so that the people that want to vote for the Democrats and have all these systems, they can volunteer to house a homeless person. And then we can also get the homeless people to sign up for this so that we can match up a homeless person to somebody who's willing to house them. We would not, how many homeless people could we possibly have in this city? We could house them in a day, and every day they could just rotate around. So maybe that's the solution to homelessness here.
Right.
I won't read this on the air. Somebody just wrote a comment that absolutely makes no sense whatsoever, but it's awful funny. I'm sorry, I can't show it. All right, I'm going to go on to the international news because I want to talk about the UK a little bit. The first thing is good news. England scraps plans for compulsory digital ID.
Yeah.
So now they were trying to do this, and this is a really bad idea. Digital ID will just basically just get us under a complete 1984 scenario. So they have scrapped this. Now, did you read this article? Because I haven't seen it.
I read the most of it. He still wants it around and use it for employment, so they have an easier way to check to make sure that you're not an illegal alien in England. But it's not going to be mandatory like he wanted it to.
But as the final tag says on there, it could come further down the line. So they're
Right.
never. Yeah. It's never done. It's just later.
Correct.
I didn't read this. I don't know much about British politics, but I wanted to put this on here. It says that the prime minister has canceled elections by, I'm sorry, I saw this. He canceled British elections by trial by jury. So he got rid of that. So now if it's a small enough crime, there is no jury trial. It's just a judge. Mandated digital ID. Well, it sounds like that's not true. Rolled out facial recognition in every town. That was true. They were trying to make those 15-minute cities. Do you remember that?
Yep. Oh yeah.
And every day people would go out and destroy those cameras. And I couldn't have been happier about that.
Right.
And then he established laws to jail people who say things that you disagree with. But Stalmer is putting elections off to 2027, 2020, or whenever. So if this is the case, they're basically going under martial law.
Right. And originally they did it because of the COVID over there. So they thought it was too disruptive to have the elections during the COVID period or whatever. But now they're trying to say, well, we're changing the federal government, therefore we need to halt the local elections because it would just create too much of a mess to do it both at the same time. So.
Okay.
So that's why he wants to get rid of elections again. But you know, like you said, that's martial law. So
I'm going to put this up here, and I'm not even going to try to say that word. But this conservative commentator has been banned from the UK. You cannot travel to the UK without a visa. This is because your presence in the UK is not considered to be conducive to the public good. So the UK, overrun by illegal aliens there, that apparently is conducive to the public good, but she is not. And I've listened to her before. She's pretty smart. But the last thing I want to do about the UK, and this is the thing, is they have this video game, state-sponsored. And it's basically to teach you the proper way to be a person. And the reason I say that is you play this game as a kid, and then you make choices. And then if you make the wrong choice, it tells you how you could be going to jail for that. I'll post this, but I'm not going to play any videos on it. And then you can check it out if you like.
yeah, because you better do what the state wants, or you need to go to jail.
Right. So it's state funded. And I was watching some of it, and it was giving you scenarios. So one of them was like, hey, you just read something in a chat group, and they said something about that the British government is trying to remove the white race, let's say. So what do? So you scroll past it, do you ignore it, or do you report it, or do you investigate it? So if you're thinking as a thinking person, you may want to investigate it. Okay, is that true? Is it not? Can I get some? That's the wrong answer. And in fact, you might be prosecuted because of that in England. You're not supposed to investigate anything. You're supposed to either report it or scroll past it. That's the kind of game. So they're trying to influence the kids now with the state-sponsored stuff. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Obama got rid of that one law to stop the propaganda against Americans. So
yeah,
I don't know what bonus that did, but
so yeah, after World War II, there was a law created that said you can't propagandize to American citizens. They did it because look how effective England was at doing manipulation against Germany during the war. They were very good at this stuff. So we had a law here that said you can't do it because it was too easy to do. Well, during the Obama administration, that law got taken out. And ever since then, this country has been going through a lot of different stuff that probably wouldn't be happening if we didn't have that.
all right.
Okay. I'm going to finish up with health and fitness here. And I cannot believe this video. Have you seen this video, Dave?
Yeah, I seen it on TV last night. Parts of it.
This is Oprah Winfrey, and let's be honest, she doesn't claim to be any kind of expert at this, And I'm play what she has to say about overeating.
All these years, I thought I was overeating. I was standing there with all the food noise, what I ate, what I should eat, how many calories was that, how long was it going to take. I thought that that was because of me and my fault.
Yeah.
Now I understand that if you carry the obesity gene, if that is what you have, that is what makes you overeat. You don't overeat and become obese.
Right.
Obesity causes you to overeat.
Right.
Obesity causes you to have all of that food noise. And what the GLP-1s have done for me, and I know a number of other people, is to quiet that noise.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about that. Obesity makes you eat.
That's a Kamala Harris word salad right there.
Yeah, it's cope. It's making sure that it's not your fault if you're fat.
Right.
So what she's saying is, what this does for me is I don't want to eat so much, so I'm not getting fatter. Well, okay, so you could just do that, right? You don't have to eat all the time. But like I said, she's not claiming to be a scientist. She's just giving her opinion. So, and the last thing I want to talk about for health and fitness is the Florida Department of Health randomly bought 25 baby formulas from stores, and almost 70% of the baby formulas they bought tested positive for heavy metals like arsenic, lead, and mercury above legal limits. So it's really important if you have a little baby to make sure you know what's going in their body and don't just take their word for it. Find out from these companies, do your research. I'll post a link on here. Again, I can't verify that this is true. I'm going to post a link from what I read. You do your own research, but I would be very cautious about the food that you give the baby. And the more you can make yourself for them, better it is.
Yeah, it's always thought that's what moms were for, is to breastfeed, and that would get rid of the heavy metals. And
these are toddlers, so different.
Oh, okay. I don't. It's been too long, so I don't know the details.
It's been a while. Yeah, it has been a while. But as far as health and fitness goes, go out, do something to make yourself healthy and happy. You know, better mental and physical fitness you have, the more mentally fit you're going to be, I think. Even if that means walking or standing up and sitting down, it depends on what you're able to do. I mean, not everybody is mobile, but everybody can do something to make themselves better every day. And I think that's important for people to do. We're going to end on our word of the day, which is fodder. Now, is this mother fodder or is this something else? Dave, give us the explanation.
No, this was just fodder. Is because I've been hearing it used a lot, so I wanted to see if it was actually a word itself or an expression, and I looked it up. It was actually a word. It's a noun. Number one, it's food, especially dried hay or feed for cattle or other livestock. Two, a person or thing regarded as material for a specific use. So when you look at when you look at the people rioting right now, is because they've been convinced that they need to do this. You don't see the people starting this out there getting arrested, getting pepper sprayed. No, they're lying to the people, and then they're using them as bait to go up against ICE. They're basically, like it says, cannon fodder.
Right. We got a guy who got it right on the nose here.
Yep. And so I was curious. Yep, fodder is a word, and that's the two definitions of fodder.
Right. Well, I think we've covered enough ground tonight. I think we had a good show. It's good to talk about this stuff, make sure everybody understands your point of view. Anything else you want to go through today?
No, but we're right back to, we need, like you just said, we need to talk about it.
Yep.
We don't need to, it needs to be peaceful. You need to have polite, organized conversations. That's the way you solve problems.
Right.
Even Trump was given a hard time for going to talk to the leader of North Korea. It's like, well, nothing's going to stop until you talk to him.
Right.
And that's what we're doing here, is we're talking about the problems that Minnesota and Duluth has.
Right. Well, I mean, sometimes you got to put your big boy pants on and go do the talk and work things out. And the funny thing is, I've said this before, I have a lot of liberal friends. I have a lot of liberal family members. We agree on probably 85, 90% of stuff.
Yep.
The ones I don't agree with usually are the ones that are so radicalized you can't talk to them. They're foaming at the mouth radical. So otherwise, I get along with conservatives, liberals, everybody. All right. On end of that, thank you all for joining us tonight. We will be back next week to talk more about stuff. And until next week, I'm Sean.
I'm Dave.
Hang loose. See you guys. Have a good night.